Good morning,
Well,
my friend.
hey, good morning. How are you?
Incredible, especially now that we've got all this technology sorted out. Feel like an old man
Mm.
struggling to get a microphone working and all that, but here we
Yeah,
are.
there's more.
What
Yeah, for sure.
about
No
you?
worries. I'm good.
That's good.
Good,
That's
ready to
that's kind of
go.
the point of the podcast, right? We're good. We're happy, joyous, and free to some extent.
Mm. Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
There's so much chance in society these days to be not sober, like literally, of course, in terms of like substances, but also through behavior. Like life these days pushes people so much towards excitement and um, imagination, fantasy, intoxication. That it's just everywhere. But it's all kind of forms of like non-sobriety. And I must say that yeah, I feel so much more in touch with myself and with who I am in this life, but also in terms of like any other prospects for an afterlife or a pre-life. Um, True sobriety, just being sober, including of caffeine and being sober of overstimulation and imagination and things like that. So that's what we want to make it clear to people that we're not talking here when we talk about alcoholics, for example, we're not talking here about, the few bumps that are in the park sleeping rough. It's their habits and addictions that and characteristics that many people have. Now they might function. We're not saying they're not functioning. They might even be highly functioning. They might even be in government jobs and running companies or being school teachers, etc., etc. And they don't know how they could live and think and be better human beings. So that's what this podcast, Better Living Through Sobriety, is aiming at working through with people and for people.
Mm.
Anything from your side on that?
Yeah, what I'm hearing you say is that this podcast isn't just for the uh, you know true addict who identifies as an
Mm,
addict. If it can land in the if it can yeah enter the ear holes of the regular Joe who doesn't yet
mm,
realize that he also has addictive tendencies and is in one sense not sober. This is for
yeah,
them too. It's better living through sobriety, and it's sobriety in a bit more of a broader sense of the term than is used in sort of addict circles. Although we
yes,
ourselves are ex-addicts, uh, we we've we have found that this message of the 12 steps is applicable to anyone. It's it's
mm,
incredible. Like, yeah, I've definitely experienced a better life through sobriety for sure.
mm.
Let's
All
talk about
right.
those.
So where do
So
we start?
yeah, we've got the AA Big Book here. For those who are unfamiliar, this is the original book of all 12 step programs. It's called Alcoholics Anonymous. It's the fourth edition. And we're in chapter one. We've already sort of read together the doctor's opinion, the forward to the second edition, recommended reading. But yeah, we're right up to chapter one, page one now.
Awesome.
Wicked. All right. Well, let's. What do you want to do? Just read and talk, or just talk and
Yeah, I
read,
think
or
so.
okay.
Well, we'll see how we go. We'll read. Bill's story is an interesting story. I would say we just read it, and then where we can and want to, we give a comment.
Oh, sounds amazing. Let's do
Because
it. Do you want to start?
many people wouldn't have this book on their shelf. So, that's to hear it from us, reading from the book is fine, I would say. And those who want to can download PDF versions of it on the internet. They're available, or they can just buy the book. Um, they'll know. Those who want this, they will know and find out where to get it.
Great stuff. Yeah, things on AA.org as well. All
Right?
right. Well,
Yeah.
let's get started. I'll read the first paragraph, unless you
Okay.
want to.
Now you go.
War fever ran high in the New England town to which we knew young officers from Plattsburgh were assigned, and we were flattered when the first citizens took us to their homes, making us feel heroic. Here was love, applause, war, moments sublime with intervals hilarious. I was part of life at last, and in the midst of the excitement, I discovered liquor. I forgot the strong warnings and the prejudices of my people concerning drink. In time, we sailed for quote unquote over there. I was very lonely and again turned to alcohol. We landed in England. I visited Winchester Cathedral. Much moved. I wandered outside. My attention was caught by a doggerel on an old tombstone. Here lies a Hampshire grenadier who caught his death, drinking cold small beer. A good soldier is never forgot, whether he died by musket or by pot.
Mm. Mm. Ominous warning, which I failed to heed. So he's reflecting back on his own story, and he didn't take the hint. 22 and a veteran of foreign wars. I went home at last. I fancied myself a leader, for had not the men of my battery given me a special token of appreciation? My talent for leadership, I imagined, would place me at the head of vast enterprises, which I would manage with the utmost assurance. Yeah, and side note, Bill was a very successful person. He was a very driven person,
Mm,
very intelligent. So we're not talking here about the, well, let's just call it the loser who can't keep anything together, um, doesn't seem to have any sensibility about anything. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about relatively successful and intelligent people
mm,
who find themselves um, with a disease or with an affliction that they can't explain, that can't handle.
mm.
So you want to go on?
Yeah, sure.
Page two.
I took a night law course and obtained employment as investigator for a surety company. The drive for success was on. I proved to the world I was important. My work took me about Wall Street, and little by little, I became interested in the market. Many people lost money, but some became very rich. Why not I? I studied economics and business as well as law. Potential alcoholic that I was, I nearly failed my law course. At one of the finals, I was too drunk to think or write. Though my drinking was not yet continuous, it disturbed my wife. We had long talks when I would still. Mm, okay. We had long talks when I would still
Mm-hmm.
her forebodings by telling her that men of genius conceive their best projects when drunk, that the most majestic constructions of philosophic thought were so derived.
Mm. Yeah, so common, right? And our society. The best albums or the best
Hmm.
books or the best movies. I mean, it's so common that the producers of such masterpieces, even at least, yeah, were drunk at the time or were, high as a kite.
Yeah, true.
By the time I had completely, yeah. So makes you wonder if well, we don't have to get too deeply into it, but it makes me wonder if in previous ages masterpieces were produced by sober people,
Hmm.
or if it really requires that out of your mind state of mind that many of our contemporary producers of art and literature are in. But like I said, I don't think we should divert too much into that. But it's a good thing to wonder about.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
By the time, yeah.
I was just gonna say, like a lot of the most famous inventors and geniuses and artists also were sober. I'm pretty sure Albert Einstein, you know, um,
Mm,
like the who was the dude who created the light bulb, apparently.
Newton.
Yeah, or there's another one who's credited for that as well. Um,
Okay.
can't think of his name right now, but it's controversial as to who actually did it. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm pretty sure these folks lived a pretty. I know they were celibate. Many were
Mm,
vegetarian, and
mm,
many were actually influenced by spiritual knowledge, Vedic knowledge. They'd get up early.
mm,
So while there are many works of art created by people who are intoxicated, right? Like, some of the best music, or at least best
mm,
rock music was totally
mm,
conceived on, all the drugs. Um, yeah, some of the
mm,
more probably, let's say, important masterpieces, Mozart and, spiritually significant works of art or music or inventions were created sober, in my opinion.
mm. Yeah, it would be an interesting topic for someone to research and write about. I think what it comes down to is that, and I was certainly included in that, is that we tend to think that what we ingest, what we eat and drink and watch and listen to has got no influence whatsoever really on how we behave or how we act or what decisions we make.
Mm,
Um, I was certainly a big sort of proponent of that sort of theory before, and I'm not saying that I just want to be sort of old-fashioned or draconian now, or I am now old-fashioned and draconian. I wouldn't say it like that. It's more like, for me, it brings up a duh expression, like duh. Of course, you are affected by what you eat and drink and smoke, and why can't we just see it for what it is? I'm not saying you are wrong when you do it. I'm not saying you still can't think and perhaps write an incredible novel. I'm not saying that. Just saying it, you are affected by it. Like just like you're affected by watching movies or by listening to music. Um, you are affected by it. Why would there be this kind of denial or this sort of like stoicisms in a sense of like, no, I can do whatever I want. I can take whatever I want in, and then I'm a completely free person to choose what I think and what I express. Um, Not to say that if you listen, for example, to music that is violent or describes things in a violent way, that you become violent. I'm not saying that. But we are affected by everything that we um, expose ourselves to. We're affected by a walk in nature or a walk in the park, or we're affected by breath. We're affected by posture. So many things.
Mm, true.
That's what I would say.
So when you say, what's your distinction between listening to violent music and becoming violent versus um, what you're saying that's not a thing, or you said that's not what you're saying. However, you are saying that we're all affected by everything. So maybe are you saying like not to the extent that you literally go and perform the same um,
Right.
acts as what you hear in the music? Is it more subtle, or what are you saying?
Well, I notice for myself, and I'm not talking in a scientific way, but more in a my own experience way. I notice that sometimes when I'm worked up, for example, and I get in the car, worked up could mean in a positive sort of way. I'm excited about something. I'm driving somewhere and I'm gonna meet some friend, and I'm sort of like a bit worked up in a way and of excitement. But I might put on Slayer on my Spotify or my phone and blast that through the car. Um, and they describe things in a pretty violent way. Now, it usually helps me to get more pumped up for the situation.
Right.
And now I don't do that often, but it sometimes brings me in the sort of mood, or sometimes it might also release a certain, if I am a bit like upset or angry, it might actually release that tension because
Yeah, yeah.
I'm giving it a sort of an input which is stronger than mine. And then I sort of like burst out laughing, listening to the lyrics, or like I just like go, oh, this is enough of this. In just, not and then it's kind of like it helps dissipate that situation. So yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm not talking in a scientific sort of way, that I'm proving a point that Slayer should be banned or anything like that. Not at all. I'm just saying that I am affected by it. And I've for me personally, I was long, long time unaware by what I was affected. I used to drink 12 to 15 coffees a day. And if people would ask me, this is in my 20s, if people would ask me, are you affected by those coffees? I would say, affected? No, not really. I just drink them. Why
Mhm.
do you drink 15 of them? I don't know. Why,
Right.
why are you bothering me? I wasn't even
Yeah.
aware. I was not aware that, 12 or 15 coffees is a lot.
Yeah, right.
So I'm talking about awareness here, really, to become aware of who we are and how we act. And last night I met up with a friend that I've known for 20 plus years now. And we were talking about, yeah, how we're now both in our mid 50s. And we were talking about how we are different than 3 years ago, 5 years ago. And he said, yeah, you were not aware of so many things 5 years ago. And it's true. But 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I was so little aware.
Hmm.
I'm still living. I'm still working a job. I'm still driving a car. I'm not like locked up or something. I'm doing life, but I'm so unaware about so many things. So that's what we're talking about here, to bring about awareness to people. Just like Bill, when he saw that writing on a tombstone in England, he didn't take notice. He did not stand still and think, something there about drinking. I'm also drinking a lot. Maybe I should look at that. He didn't do that. It took 20 miles further of drinking, or however long it was, before. And this is often the thing also with addicts, that they're not aware that their behavior, their actions, their decisions cause often tremendous detriment to themselves, to their families, to their loved ones. And they might find themselves at home and they have left, their loved ones have left. And they would be like, what happened? Now, that maybe is explainable or understandable, and everybody would agree, yeah, well, that was because you were drinking, enormous amounts every day. But that's not me. What we want to say is, to the normal person, also for you, there's something to learn from observing yourself, journaling, discussing things honestly with a good friend or somebody that you trust, and you become aware of your more subtle behavior, or sometimes also more gross behavior. And you can live better than through that awareness. So sobriety starts with awareness, I would say.
Sobriety starts with awareness. That's true.
What do you
That's
think?
literally the first step of the 12-step program. We admitted that we were powerless over our addiction, whatever it was, and that our lives were unmanageable. So there's some self-awareness there, whether that was forced on us by loved ones or police, or being, sitting in a jail cell, being confronted by the reality, right? Like, and yeah, that's the first step. It is awareness. Maybe something's off here.
Yeah.
So what's the
Any other? Yeah.
let's just get this on the court and make it kind of juicy and useful. Juiceful. Let's make that our new thing. It has to be juiceful, juicy and useful.
Let's make it useful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's okay? Someone's listening and they're self-aware enough to click on this video and check it out. They're thinking, yeah, my life could be better sober, better living through sobriety. What do we have to offer?
We have to offer our experience as humans, as addicts, even though that might give us a label and there you go, you guys were in the gutter. Yeah, well, you'll find out if you keep listening. I would say we were both quite functioning in one sense, and you might not guess us of the addictive type. But we can share our experience. Like in the 12-step program, it's called Experience, Strength, and Hope. It's not called like coaching or even advice, because we have come to find out that we love to give good advice because we love to be heard. We love to be appreciated in general as human beings. So we say what we're going to share is very simple. We're going to share our experience, and we're going to share what worked for us. Now, if that makes it relatable for you, and you want to know more, then keep on listening, or find also your own version of what we're describing, your own 12-step group, or your own, whatever that looks like for you. And from that, you will have your own journey of strength and hope. And then you can continue that process and you can share that with your own family or your friends, or you can, whatever it will imply for you. I see this as a sort of a rippling movement throughout society, not necessarily us two, but the whole 12-step program is a very underground grassroots. It's literally anonymous, so it happens in the backs of schools and churches and community centers, and the rest of society doesn't even really have an idea that these things are happening. It's actually really cool for those who want to be part of an underground movement, as you have them sometimes in the subcultures of the world, the punk or the techno or the hip hop scenes. Well, this is as underground as it gets.
That's true. The
I
meetings
don't
are
know if that,
generally in the basement of churches.
yeah, something like that. Some obscure room somewhere. There's no
Yeah,
big signs outside.
no, nothing. Yeah, I was at a meeting the other
And
day,
sometimes
and
there's 50, 60 people outside.
yeah, I went to a meeting the other day,
And
and
you have guest
I didn't
speakers.
know how to get in. I didn't know where it was, and
Right,
someone pulled up in the
right.
car park, and I was like, they're like, "Hey, are you lost? Are you?" And I just said, "I'm just here for a meeting." And they're like, "Oh
Right,
yeah, come with me." I'm like, "Oh, you're here for the same thing? Sweet."
right. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fully legal. That's for sure. However, and there's the other wonderful thing of this process that we are going to take you through or take you on is that there's thought behind every aspect of that. There's a reason why there is no flashy buildings in every downtown city, or in every city downtown,
Mm,
saying this is the AA building.
mm,
Come here if you have a drinking problem. No, they deliberately have it. They have a saying called attraction rather than promotion.
mm,
That's why you don't see a advertisement. They want it to be by attraction, and there's something really genius behind that. They really figured out the human psyche very well and run their programs on that basis.
mm,
And it stuns often people who go in there because they have a drinking problem or they have a drugging problem or they have another problem. But one hope and dream of myself is, and I think you as well, is that we can make this a little bit more known into general society, which then leads us to our slogan, better living through sobriety. It goes for everyone. I don't
mm.
know if that's juiceful enough,
Well, let me
or if
see.
you have a more juiceful.
What would I take from that? Um, that yeah, get amongst the 12-step program. Join a meeting, go to a meeting, and do the 12 steps. It's anonymous, and it works too. That's probably what I would just add to that. That um, you know,
Mm,
it has, so here's me before the program, scared to talk to any professional, on the phone, calling the bank, or whatever, just like fear of people, fear of economic
mm,
insecurity, fear of women, fear of men, just fear, right? And like the way I lived my life was like, um, just like a rat bag and a cockroach, like climbing around, climbing
mm,
on top of buildings in the night, and like one of my biggest, expressions of addictive behavior or addiction was, um, you know, like graffiti and exploring, like exploring abandoned buildings, going into drains, and I still
mm,
like enjoy some aspects of all that culture and that and the thrill and everything like that. But I was addicted to the thrill and like crime and stuff like that. Um and my life was unmanageable, like I wagged school, like, you know, I don't even know how I graduated. Anyway, and then, fast forward and I realized that actually like my life's unmanageable. I got that awareness and it showed up as, divorce and many impacts of my addictive behavior. And without going right into it, right? But yeah, through recovery, I've gained a a relationship with me that I respect. I like the person in the mirror, and
mm,
that alone has transformed everything else, right? Like I don't want to destroy myself. When I don't respect myself, I do self-destructive behaviors. Now that I respect
mm,
myself, mainly because I'm I'm living better through sobriety. It's kind of like this vicious, no, it's like the opposite of a vicious cycle. It's like an upward spiral,
mhm.
So like
Yeah.
addiction, it's a downward spiral. If I do something I don't respect, I double down on that. I do more. I just like keep on ruining, right, my
Mm,
life. But when I start taking the actions of love and service and like self-care and like responsibility, I start respecting myself more, and then I start acting consistent with that, and it just keeps on getting better and better. Such that now, yeah, like,
yeah.
I can really look people in the eye. I don't have that fear of people. I don't have that fear of economic insecurity. I'm just working. I'm just making money.
Yeah.
I'm showing up on time to things as much, a lot more than usual. You can testify to that. So yeah, it's just better living through sobriety. Just
Mm,
do the 12
mm.
steps and see where it takes you.
Well, like if this is the first time you're listening to us and you sort of like clicked on this because of algorithms or a fake notion, then we're not pushing you to action. Again, we're just sharing our experience and what worked for us. And as you say, a call to action could be, join a program or by going to a meeting. There's no membership. This is the other thing that people will find out who follow through in this, which is that there's no membership, there's no payment, there's not even um, a commitment like you have to come every week.
Mm,
And it's quite daunting in the beginning. You think, how's this going to work if you guys don't even tell people they should come every week? They must come, they should come. And
right.
there's nothing of that. It's all self-responsibility.
Sure.
Like I often go to meetings because on the weekend I'm in Sydney and I'm sort of like literally all over the place, but in a good way. And I feel, well, I could do with a meeting today. And I will just go on my phone and I look up where there's a meeting nearby me.
Mm,
And it could be 3 months before I come back to that meeting. If at all. There's some meetings I've only been once. But no one calls me up and no one takes my name and no one takes my number.
mm,
And it's not a lonely experience, like no
mm,
one cares. It's more like you are completely welcome here, but it is your responsibility. The onus is on you to show up somewhere at some time in the kind of like interval you can handle. So you want to come once a week, you come once a week. You want to come every day, you come every day. You're welcome.
nice.
And that's quite unique because nothing in this world really functions like that. It's always sign here, leave your credit card here,
Mm,
commit to this.
yeah.
They don't do that. And still it works. So anyway, we
Good
have to
point.
leave it there because I actually have to chair my weekly meeting. That's a commitment that I have made. So I have to get to that.
Awesome. Our meeting time remaining is 2 minutes and 40 seconds anyway. So awesome conversation,
Yeah.
brother, and I'll see you in the meeting.
In 5 minutes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
You too.